Despite the fact that I have done so much filming this week for YouTube and even for the weekly vlog that's coming out tomorrow, but somehow or other I've managed to make time to at least watch 4 movies in the space of this past week. So without further ado, 2 of them are rewatches, 2 of them are completely brand new movies for 2024. So without further ado, let's have a look and see what movies I've been watching in this week's episode of the Movie Wrap Up. You're watching Steve's Movie Wrap Up, episode 26. The first movie we'll be reviewing in this episode is The Nutty Professor. So the first rewatch that I did this week was The Nutty Professor, which I gave 2 stars over on Letterboxd. I have seen this movie so many times, but I can't help but feel as though the film does lack its comedy value after a while. Yes, there are moments in this film that I do still, to this day, laugh at, especially the opening scene of the movie, but I think watching this back now though, compared to when I first watched this movie around 10 odd years ago, I think the comedy does start to lack after a while. I still can't get over, by the way, Eddie Murphy acting all these scenes, portraying the roles as pretty much every family member within the Klumps family. So pretty much Eddie Murphy is nearly in every scene of this movie when you think about it. The Nutty Professor to The Klumps. And then we go from The Nutty Professor to the sequel, which was The Nutty Professor to The Klumps, which I gave 1.5 star over on Letterboxd. So this is a follow-up sequel to the original film released in 1996, the year that I was born. But 4 years later, in the year 2000, we got given this film, a film which I'm not sure if we actually did need a sequel to this film or not, but this doesn't really take itself too seriously. In the first film, you had Jada Pinkett star as Professor Klump's love interest, and now in the sequel, you have Janet Jackson, who stars as the love interest for Klump, which does make me think it was either scheduling conflicts or this just didn't interest Jada Pinkett in returning for the sequel if she was given the script to this film. Once again, Eddie Murphy pretty much stars in nearly every scene of the film as he plays most of the Klump family. I do enjoy it for what it is, but again, I wouldn't say that this film is a film that I would always enjoy going back and rewatching every now and then. Is fine, but aside from that though, it's a decent enough film. And yes, I do apologise if you did just hear a motorbike go past. I have got the windows open. It is a little bit stuffy in here, and well, quite frankly, I think I've said it in a video that I filmed earlier this week, but I need to breathe. So there we go. Anyway, that was my review for Nutty Professor to The Klumps. Mother of the Bride. So Mother of the Bride, again, another movie that I gave 1.5 star over on Letterboxd. I'll be honest here, I knew that this wasn't going to be perfect. Let's face it, recently, has there been a perfect Netflix original? There really hasn't been, and this is no different. But I wanted to get my thoughts and opinions out there over this movie. Firstly, the acting seemed to be a bit off in this. You've got Miranda Cosgrove, known for playing roles in the movie School of Rock, starring Jack Black, and in TV shows like Drake and Josh and iCarly. And you also have Brooke Shields, who plays Cosgrove's character's mother. Now, I'll be honest, did I believe that they were mother and daughter? Not really, and the reason why is because they just felt like they didn't have the right chemistry at all for it to be believable that they were mother and daughter in this fictional movie. I will say this though, Netflix must have spent some decent money on this movie because it is shot on a beautiful location, and even though this passed off as technically a rom-com, did I find any of the comedy within the script funny? Well, no, I didn't. If anything, it felt rather unfunny, and also at times the commentary just felt like it was being forced on you as well. Plus, at the very end of the movie, it also had a bit of a cringe dancing, which I absolutely hated. I've got to make an iCarly reference though, because recently Paramount Plus revealed that the show wasn't going to return for another season, and the show was left on a cliffhanger where Carly's mother turned up to a wedding. I guess we finally know who her mother would have been. Maybe it would have been Brooke Shields, who knows. You know what? I'm going to try and make out that this movie was actually the last ever episode of iCarly, and RJ, who was Cosgrove's character's fiance or husband-to-be, shall we say. But yeah, RJ was actually Freddie in this, and Lara, played by Shields, was Carly's mother. And the wedding went to an exotic location. There we go. That's a bit better, I guess. And finally, I just want to make another point about this, and this is a very bizarre, by the way, but the character of RJ weirdly reminded me of Oscar Isaac when he played Steven/Mark in the Marvel TV show Moon Knight on Disney Plus at one point. I thought any second now he's gonna don his Moon Knight costume and kick some butt. Anyway, Mother of the Bride is available to stream over on Netflix globally. Arcadian. And the final film that I've watched this week is Arcadian, which I gave 2.5 stars over on Letterboxd. Okay, so Arcadian was a decent enough movie, I thought, but genuinely though, how did it hold up? Well, the movie does star Nicolas Cage, and even though last year we got 3 movies which starred the actor and 2 of them featured him becoming rather crazy, this one took a different direction and we didn't see him go crazy or berserk. Instead, we saw him as a father figure to 2 boys, Joseph and Thomas, which I thought was really nice. Now, I'll be honest here, some may argue they could class this as a horror because they do have a couple of jump scares here and there, while others will class this as a sci-fi which pays homage a little bit to the movie A Quiet Place, which I do agree to some aspect. This does pay homage to that movie in the way that this is set in a dystopian kind of world where basically an apocalypse has happened, similar to A Quiet Place, although the difference is with both these movies is that in A Quiet Place you have these aliens which appear when there is noise, whereas with Arcadian the aliens only appear to come out and terrorise the world at night time. Now, I can see me being able to survive that. After all, I don't really go out when it's sundown anyways. I did think that the dialogue was pretty decent. I love the designs of the CGI aliens that we see in this movie, and the acting seemed to be rather decent as well. However, though, I do have an issue with this film, and that is that, have they ever heard of something called a Steadicam? It's just the camera was shaking and zooming in at various different points. I thought I was going to get nauseous watching this film with the amount of times the camera was going all over the place. It's like when we first see the truck and Paul, who is played by Cage, teaches one of his sons, Joseph, how to drive it. They use a Steadicam for that scene, but then it appears it's never used again, and we just see the characters from the point of view as if the audience were in the back seat of the truck, which did at times get rather annoying. But for me though, that's the only complaint I have got for this film. One final thing I will say is that I am really looking forward to an upcoming horror movie that Nicolas Cage will star in later in 2024 called Longlegs. So far I've heard really good things about it, so let's hope that when I review that movie later this year, it's going to be a decent movie as well. And there we go, that is all the movies that I have watched this week for you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this. If you have, please give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment in the comment section down below. Let me know what movies you've been watching this week, whether it's old, new, in the cinema, on streaming service, or heck, go old school, even on DVD or Blu-ray, or even on VHS, if that's even still a thing. And as always, if you like what you see here and you want to see more, feel free to hit that subscribe button down below to become a Stevo. Your next YouTube video will be out tomorrow, which will be Monday the 13th of May at 4 PM UK time. It'll be my weekly vlog. Hope you guys can catch it then. And my movie wrap-up will be back next week. I have actually got some recent cinema released movie reviews coming up next week, including the likes of If, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, The Fall Guy, Tarot, and maybe, fingers crossed, maybe we'll see if we can get a review for The Strangers Chapter 1. I'm kind of hoping I do get to see that next week before my next episode of the movie wrap-up drops on my channel. But from me, until my next YouTube video, it's goodbye. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys again in my next YouTube video.